Do you ever just wonder where all the money goes? It's like socks in the dryer, it just disappears. A lot of strippers, including myself, have a weird relationship with money. In the club and counting money afterwards, you hear a lot of "make that money," "stay on your hustle," and if someone disrespects us, "I can't hear you over all the money that I'm making tonight." Unfortunately, a lot of outsiders, and even dancers themselves, will judge a particular dancer on her validity as a dancer and her morality even, based on how much money she makes, and whether or not they think that amount of money justifies the choice that she's made to be a stripper. At the same time, lots of strippers will tell you that money is evil, capitalism is bullshit, all work is coerced, and no business is ethical under capitalism. I don't really have any pearls of wisdom about this, but I do find it intriguing, and I think that outsiders probably would find it surprising that a group of people that so many consider money obsessed can actually be very anti-capitalist. This becomes a little easier to understand if you think about the group of people who tend to become strippers. It's often those with a dire need for money, and those like me, who struggled with the constraints of regular work. I had trouble holding down a schedule because of my mental illness. Other dancers may not work well with a boss, with a team, or during daylight hours. There are as many reasons to be a stripper as there are strippers. For that reason and others, stripping attracts a group of people who are already ill at ease with the system. It's unfortunate that strippers come from such dire financial backgrounds, because stripping is not a good way to learn money management. I talked to some coworkers at the job that I worked before I started dancing, who were used to being paid once a month. At our new job, they were paid twice a month, and they said that they struggled with that, because instead of laying out all the bills for the month and all the expenses, and then subtracting that from their income and knowing what they had as spending money, they would spend too much of their first check, expecting to spend the second check on necessities, and then wind up in the hole. Strippers have this problem multiplied by every night they work. Way too often have I seen a girl make $2,000 over the weekend and then 2 days later come in desperate, saying she needed to make rent money that night. Having to pay rent wasn't a surprise, but they acted like it was each month. It's important to realize that many dancers do get a good handle on their money and wind up buying cars, businesses, houses, and education for themselves and their children. When I was dancing, and even before, I was very careful with money. I was raised half my childhood in a house that was a great example of what life looks like if you're not good with money, and half my childhood in a household that was much better. While I was dancing, I paid off my college education, bought and paid off a car, saved $20,000, and helped friends and family regularly. That money and lack of debt was a lifesaver when I became too disabled to work and held me aloft until I could get on disability. So a good friend suggested that I make a video that talked about how I budget, how I spend, in case anybody who is struggling cares enough to want to know. It is extremely important to remember that not everyone has the same access to money in the first place, even if they're all dancers. By virtue of being skinny, white, being able to hide my disabilities most of the time, and a lot of family help, mostly with the disabilities, and no dependents of any kind, I was far, far ahead of some. Some strippers are excellent at budgeting, but have no material goods to show for it. Instead, they have 2 or 3 happy, healthy kids. At most of the clubs that I've worked at, dancers of color have made about a third of what similarly committed white dancers do, and there is absolutely nothing they can do to fix that. No one is in the same place monetarily, but if you have an income, making a budget can help. To make a budget like this, you must track your expenditures for at least 1 month, but ideally more like 3, and then make a plan for keeping your expenditures the same or changing them from here on out.
The first and most important thing you can do is to make as detailed a budget as you can, in writing. This is only a sample, yours may vary slightly. First on the list are rent or mortgage and utilities in your home. From heating to water to Wi-Fi, this all goes here. Next are transportation expenses, car insurance, gas and upkeep, or your average monthly ride-sharing or public transportation costs. If you have kids, don't forget childcare and other child expenses here. In the groceries and toiletries column goes food, toilet paper, diapers, etc. If you have a gym membership or take fitness or dance classes, put those expenses here. Very important are work upkeep costs. If you are an independent contractor, keep the receipts on these things for tax purposes. This isn't hard. Every time you come home with a new receipt, circle whatever fits this category or highlight it, and toss it in a box and forget about it until tax time. Things that fall into this category are nails, tanning, hair care, waxing, shoe maintenance, replacement or repair, costume maintenance, replacement or repair, and makeup, perfume, or hair products. While you are saving the receipts for these things, save your receipts for gas and track your mileage going and coming to work. It saves you money come tax time. Save your receipts for things like dance classes in the gym, and if you use your phone for work, you should save the receipts for that as well. Add going out to eat or drink if you do a lot of this. I would consider this expendable, but I know we can't all cook the nights we dance, so let's go ahead and budget this in. If you know you're going to Waffle House after work 3 times a week, or getting pizza at work, or having 3 drinks in your favorite bar once a week, pencil that in. If you can't go to work without your coffee fix, put that in too. Once you've figured out exactly how much you need to survive a month, I suggest 2 types of savings. If you only have one savings account or are putting cash away somewhere, keep total of how much each fund has on paper. Emergency fund money is the type of money that I talk about on this channel a lot. Money in case you get fired, burnt out, or injured. This is also where you go if your car breaks down, you get pregnant, or your partner or kid gets sick. You want to put every penny that you can here. You want to save enough that you could go between 1 and 3 months without working. Last is money for a goal that cannot be paid off easily in 1 month. New tattoos could go here, plastic surgery, a new car, or vacation. Decide exactly how much you want to put in here a month, and be as faithful to that as you are your bills, because these are your dreams, and they're important.
Everything else is spending money, but you have to pay your budget first. Ideally, you should pay ahead. So, making all of your money in October that you're going to spend in November, while in November you're making all the money that you're going to spend in December. This way, you'll never get caught short without a ton of warning. Other things you may include in your budget include health or life insurance, pet care, child support, reoccurring health expenses like prescriptions, vitamins, or like chiropractor visits, regular charity donations, subscriptions to things like Amazon Prime and Netflix, quarterly tax payments, which is how I suggest you pay your taxes if you're an independent contractor, mobile phone bills, credit card payments, kid-related expenses like braces, and probably dozens of other things that I'm not thinking of right now. As I said before, you may have to track your expenditures for several months to get a good fit on what your budget should be. With a budget, you know exactly how much cash is on hand, so you never have to feel guilty or anxious just because you want to buy something. You've taken care of everything else. Another thing this allows you to do is visualize where your money goes, and if you don't like it, you can change it. Totaling up how much you spend on Starbucks or cigarettes and can't believe what you're seeing? This is the time that you can change that. Or maybe it's time to switch to a cheaper nail salon or change what you get while you're there. Having a budget gives you back a modicum of control over your own money. When you do want to purchase something, look at the cost and then remember how many lap dances it would take to give you that much money. When deciding if it's worth it, don't just think of the lap dance itself, but of the time waiting for customers, convincing customers, and dealing with time wasters that all come first before you're actually able to give the lap dance. If what you're buying is worth all the work that it took to buy it, then you're less likely to regret a purchase decision later. Now for a couple of comments. Commenter Scott Mize asked me what to do if he sees a dancer outside the club. At Walmart, for example. Is it okay to go up to her? My first answer was no, leave her alone. But I thought I might expand upon that because I doubt he's the only one with that question. I personally dance in a very small city, and underneath all the wigs that I wear on YouTube, I usually have bright blue, pink, or purple hair. So this has happened many times to me. Men have come up to me using my work name when I was with friends and family who didn't even know what I did for a living. Or even when I'm with kids. Even more scarier are the times when I've been approached when I've been alone, and not known what to do if the situation went bad, with no bouncers or anyone to turn to. In that moment, I don't know if I'm meeting somebody by coincidence, if they've been following me, if they're a stalker. Strippers get followed and stalked enough that this is a real concern. It can also just be annoying because I don't want to be on all of the time, and I really don't want to have to dress like I'm going to see a customer every time I leave the house. I have lost a regular before because I was sick and basically in my pajamas and a winter coat at Walmart in the middle of the night one night. I was with friends who knew what my job was but definitely weren't comfortable with it. He passed me in an aisle and said hi, and I didn't know what to do really, so I waved and said hi back and then kept walking. He got mad that I didn't stop and have a conversation. For like the next 9 months, he would come in almost every other day and bitch at me about how I had acted like I didn't even know him and never got a dance again. But this is like seeing Brad Pitt at the gym and being mad at him that he's not Tyler Durden. Strippers are not who they act like in the club. Please don't make us pretend to be. Don't make us live like we're constantly at work. Thank you if you don't do this. Another character, Yum Cheesy 5, asked if I could do a video about my favorite wigs. I own about 16 wigs, but I'd only say that about 2 of them are my favorites. Still, I'm willing to do the video as long as I get some interest, so if you're interested in that, give me a comment. I'm also currently squirreling away bloopers to make one of those videos sometime soon. If you also have questions or suggestions, please leave me a comment. And definitely please subscribe and hit the bell icon if you don't mind so that you can get my videos when they come out.